happy Friday. I wanted to talk about the Sober Edge Book Club where all the sober ladies hang out. We had our first official book club discussion last night on Zoom. We had about 17 ladies in attendance, so overall a really good turnout. And the first book that we read in the club was The Sober Lush by Amanda Ward and Jardine Libari. I might be pronouncing those wrong, so my apologies. One thing that we talked about is some of us read the book, like the hardcover book. Some of us listened to the Audible. And for those who had the hardcover book, we really commented on what a pretty book it is. I mean, look how colorful it is. We were actually commenting how it just feels very lush, right? It goes with the title very well. And, what is the Sober Lush about, by the way? So the tagline is a hedonist guide to living a decadent, adventurous, soulful life, alcohol-free. And I just really loved it. It was set up it's a very unique kind of setup. So it's actually a series of really small chapters. Like chapters tend to be only a couple of pages long. So that was kind of fun. And it's not a book that you necessarily have to read in order. You could really flip through it and just check out the different topics. And really, it's just a whole bunch of really fun ideas for how to have a fun and lush life once you take alcohol out. And, it was one thing that we were commenting on last night, and something I certainly mentioned with the group was I really could have used a book like this years ago when I was struggling, because, when I was struggling to stop, drinking, what was the biggest concern? Well, the biggest concern was, oh my gosh, like I'm supposed to live life without alcohol? Like, how does that work? When you spend your whole adult life kind of tying alcohol into so many different activities, whether it's happy hour, going to dinner, brunch, I mean, name a thing, right? What don't we associate with alcohol in our society? So I really struggled with that idea, and the idea of not drinking, it felt like a punishment. So it really kept me stuck. I talk a lot about FOMO as part of my journey, and it really held me back. Now, ever since I hired Jolene and did the gray area drinking coaching, it flipped completely. And now for the last 2.5 years, I feel like I've had a really lush life, even more of a lush life without alcohol. And really, I've just been bringing in so many wonderful experiences. Not that I didn't do fun things when I was drinking. Of course I did. I went on many great adventures, did a lot of fun things. But it just feels different now. Alcohol, it dulls the senses. And I just feel like now that the alcohol's out, everything is really truly online. Like food tastes better, and, experiences, I'm actually really enjoying them because, I'm always in the present moment. And I never have to worry about things like safety, right? I never have to worry about being intoxicated and leaving, or being around people and not being safe. And it's just, so like if you're going to do something adventurous, let's say, obviously you don't want to have alcohol in the mix there. So some of the things that we talked about last night, one of the things that was brought up as a fun suggestion is actually those float tanks where they put, they're filled with salt. It's a lot of salt in the water so that you float. That's something I haven't tried yet, but it actually is on my to-do list. If you've tried those float tanks, I'd be curious, put in the comments what your thoughts were on that. Is that something you tried and you liked it? Is that something that is not appealing at all? It sounds like it could be very relaxing, but I know some people struggle with the claustrophobia kind of feeling you may get, and the fact that it's so quiet. And I know sometimes being so quiet with your thoughts can be a little challenging. Let's see. So I kind of have that on the to-do list. Another thing that came up was enjoying a picnic and how lush a picnic can feel. And I actually shared with the group a wonderful story of a picnic experience So back in February of 2021, I had an idea to surprise Evan for his birthday. We wanted to do something kind of fun and different. And I was, flipping through like a local magazine, and I came across a gal that that does like picnics for a living. So you coordinate with her, and you can pick the location. It could be in your own backyard. It could be at a park of your choosing. And then you have a say in what kind of like charcuterie or games you may want. And that was like such a fabulous experience. There was something so just joyful about it. And, being able to surprise Evan, and especially because, we had kind of a difficult few years before that, when I was struggling and depressed and anxious, and he went through some of his own personal things kind of around that time. To surprise him with a picnic that was kind of, like a simple idea, but yet so, I don't know, fun, lush, enjoyable, all those things. And to see the smile on his face, like I'll never forget it. And, even though it was right in our own backyard, I remember like getting dressed up and just sitting on a blanket, and we played some checkers. And, so it was funny because like I was building kind of a lush experience before I even kind of thought in terms of like how the book has laid it out. And, so those are just some fun examples. We also talked about, splurging on ourselves now that we don't drink alcohol. So one woman shared a story of how she spent $200 on a tube that was going to get towed by the boat. And some of the people in the family were kind of shocked she would spend that money. And she's like, well, why not? This is going to bring us a lot of joy. It's going to be a lot of fun. And, think about how much money we spent on alcohol. So if you're not, spending your money on alcohol, how could you use that money for other fun things? Whether it's maybe buying a bottle of really fancy lotion, or if you're into perfumes, or decadent chocolate or tea. Even just having like a delicious cup of tea in a really pretty glass can feel very lush. So I really I had a lot of fun last night reading the book. I had a lot of fun reading the book, but I had a lot of fun last night just being able to talk to the other women about it, and all of us kind of sharing our examples of how we've been doing lush things now that we don't drink. And so I'd be curious in the comments, what kind of lush things maybe are you doing if you're not drinking anymore? And because I think sharing ideas is great. So our next book that we're going to be reading in July is called The 4 Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin. So Gretchen Rubin is actually, known for the Happiness Project. That sounds very interesting, so I'm going to have to add that book to my list. So The 4 Tendencies is the indispensable personality profiles that reveal how to make your life better and other people's lives better too. So she talks about so there's a lot of different ways to look at personalities. You've probably heard of the Enneagram test, or there's lots of different kind of tests out there to kind of figure out, your personality. So she has her own view of it, and she has something called, here you go, here's the 4 tendencies. This is a little graphic of it. And she's got the upholder, which talks about meeting outer expectations and meeting inner expectations. The obliger is the personality that is will easily meet outer expectations but maybe resist inner expectations. You've got the rebel, which resists both inner and outer expectations, and the questioner, which resists outer expectations but tends to meet inner expectations. So I've actually already started to dive into it, and I have to say it's a very interesting read, very kind of a different book, and it's been an easy read so far. She puts a quiz in there to see what personality you fall into, and of course she does say we all have a little bit of each of these in us, but she said that everybody really does fit into kind of one main big category. And if you kind of understand if somebody is a questioner versus an upholder, then it can kind of just help you interact better and maybe communicate better, and you'll have a better understanding of each other. Like, for instance, like upholders, they're great at meeting expectations, but they can also be, like, one of the flaws might be that they're a little rigid. And then a questioner might come across as, well, if you ask somebody to do something and then they just sit there questioning you, and that might come across as like a little annoying or disrespectful. But if you know where they're coming from and that their personality is just being a questioner, they're not doing it to be, they're not trying to be rude or anything. It's just, part of their personality. So for example, so I have to say that's been a pretty interesting book. And so anyway, I just wanted to share an update on the book club and the books that we're reading. And I really enjoyed the last night, the camaraderie and just the kind of shared experiences, and like the brainstorming ideas that we all get to share with each other. And one thing that came up in the group was like a little bit of a fun challenge, and it was, what is maybe one of the weirdest things that you could do in the town that you live in, that is just something kind of weird and different, something maybe you want to try. So I thought that was a really fun little challenge. The first thing that came to mind was probably like goat yoga. In Gilbert, Arizona, there's a great it's called AZ Goat Yoga, and I've actually done it twice over the years. I did it back in March actually, and I would definitely argue that was kind of it's kind of a weird, fun, different thing, and I really like it. So that's kind of like one fun example. And another thing that I threw out as kind of a fun, weird example is one time we went to the Miraval Resort, and they actually had a beekeeping class, and that was really fun, and that was actually something I would definitely try again. So if you had any ideas for something very weird, fun, or different, put it in the comments. I would love to hear some fun suggestions for a lush life. We're all in it together, and it's really cool to kind of go through this journey with community. And and let's see. So tomorrow's July 1st. I can't believe we're halfway through the year, and July is actually known as Dry July. It's very similar to Dry January, where it's just kind of a nice time to take 30 days off there's 31 days in July, a nice month off of drinking. And it, wherever you fall on the drinking spectrum, it's no matter where you are, I would advocate that it is really good to take breaks every once in a while. To take a whole month off here and there, it's just so good for your body, so good for your brain, your mind, your anxiety, your nervous system, all that. So, even if you drink regularly and you don't plan on, stopping full time, maybe think about just taking 30 days off every once in a while. Just hit the reset button. Just give your body a little bit of a break. And and if there's any way I can help you, please let me know. Whether it's whether you want to talk about coaching, or you want to sign up for my newsletter so you can get really fun, interesting articles. I only do 2 a month, so I'm not gonna overwhelm your inbox by any means. And or if there's any topics that you want me to be posting about on social media, I'm very open to that too. I like the idea of giving people what they want information on. And so anyway, enjoy the rest of your Friday, and hope to hear from you soon. And please let me know what I can do for you. All right, have a good rest of your day. Bye.